start the new parak. It's called Shmeina Shratzim. It's on Daf Kuf Zayin, Amid Aleph. We're a little bit behind. Today's Daf is Daf Kuf Ches. So let's go through the first piece of the Gemara. Had a little complication, so need to concentrate. After that, it gets much easier. It took me several times to figure this piece out. It's 5-6 times. Okay, so Shmeina Shratzim Amurim B'Torah. The Torah talks about 8 creatures, small creatures that give off tumah when they're dead. Usually, insects that are dead don't give off tumah, but there are 8, not insects, but small creatures that do give off tumah. Animals, large animals, give off tumah as an avela. That's a different story when they die, a carcass. But the Shmeina Shratzim, the Torah talks about. What are the Shmeina Shratzim? So we can't really translate them today, although the commentaries give all types of suggestions. Just the weasel, the mouse, and the toad, and the gecko, and the land crocodile, the lizard, the snail, whichever English one you're going to look in, you'll get a different list. In Hebrew, they're all the same, of course. They're all there's no conflict. It's just how do you translate them? So those are the 8. So what we're saying over here is that tzadon, someone that captures them on Shabbos, traps them. You're not allowed to trap on Shabbos. V'achevel bem. And someone that causes a bruise on them, he bangs it. So he's chayev. The Gemara is going to explain that it has to do with the fact that it has skin. All of these animals have skin. As opposed to a worm, let's say, where it's just flesh. The skin of a worm is not considered really, is not considered a skin. So the two things are sort of related. Why would someone trap it? Well, he wants to use the skin. He's going to make himself gecko shoes or something. And also, chayvel behem. Well, chayvel is he makes a bruise on it. Now, it could be that chayvel is chayev mishum tzeveya. He's coloring. So what did he color? He colored the skin. Could be chayvel is chayev because of sheichet. Because he's slaughtering. Well, he didn't slaughter the whole animal. It's only a part of the animal that got the bruise. Well, malikat lekula, malikat lepalga. What's the difference if he killed the whole animal or if he just bruised part of the animal? And because that would never come back to heal, because the blood gets together underneath the skin. It holds over there. I forgot there's a medical term for that. But so anyway, so that's why he would be chayev. So we're talking about creatures that have skin. You're chayev if you capture them. You're chayev if you bruise them. And what's the possible reason for chayev for bruising them? Either tzevei or sheichet. Shar shkatzim. Other types of creatures, worms, snakes, whatever. Snakes have skin, but would be something that the skin would not be usable. So hachevel be'em pater, then if he bruises them, he's exempt. Hatzadan, if he hunts them, if he not hunts, he captures them. So if it's litzayrach, if it's for something, a necessity, because he wants to use the skin or use any part of it for some sort of medicinal purposes, so then he's chayev. That's a malacha tzrich legufa. Shloi l'tzayrach, if it's not for any necessity, why is he capturing this creature? It's a spider. He's captured a spider. He put a cup over it. Why did he do that? He did it not because he wants to use the spider in some herb, in some brew that he's making for medicine. He did it because he doesn't want to get bitten. So that is a malacha shein tzrich legufa. And therefore he's pater. The Gemara is going to say this is the opinion of Reb Shimon that holds a malacha shein tzrich leguf if you do an act, not for a real intent of what this labor is supposed to be for, so then you're exempt. Rabbi Yehuda, of course, I would argue on this. If someone owns an animal, a wild animal or a bird that's already captured, he has it already. Hatzadan is pater. If he captures it again, he's exempt. It's already captured. But nevertheless, if he bruises it, he's going to be chayiv. So even though we put together tzad and chayvel, but there are times when it's distinguished, that it's there are different differentiations. Okay. Let me give you an introduction just to make this a drop easier. There's a certain measurement of sheretz that gives off tumah. Now, that's from the body of the sheretz. Sheretz is one of these creeping creatures that die. There's 8 of them, 8 possible ones. And a certain measurement, a very small measurement, a dasha, a type of bean, that size of the sheretz would give off tumah. So if something touches it. Now, what about the skin of the sheretz? I know from the flesh of the sheretz that would give off. What about the skin? So there's 2 opinions here. One opinion is Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, and he says that the skin is different than the body, and the skin doesn't give off tumah at the size of a dasha. I'm not sure exactly what size, but it's not considered the sheretz. The skin is separate. The Rabbanan say that it depends which one. You have to look at the 2 psukim that discuss the shratzim. All the shratzim that are in one verse, the skin would be similar to the flesh. All the shratzim that are in the other verse, the skin are different from the flesh. Well, how do they get that? They use a pasuk that says Eily. It deduces it doesn't that the skin. It says the skin is not the same over there. Okay, now we have a Mishnah that says Shmeina shratzim have skin. Why? Because we say if you bruise them, you're chayiv. The Gemara immediately says, "Mi diktani achevel bem chayiv, mechlal dis luar." It must be that there's skin there. Now we know that there's a machlekes about the skin of the shratzim regarding tumah. So man tana. So who's the author of our Mishnah that says all the shratzim have skin, which means that they don't give off the same tumah as the flesh would, because skin is separate from flesh. Amar Shmuel, Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, Shmuel gets away with this Gemara very easy. He just says that our Mishnah is the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, and he's the one that holds by tumah that the skin is separate from the flesh, and therefore regarding Shabbos and bruising them, the skin is separate from the flesh, and he gets away easy. Okay, the Tanana was taught in the Mishnah. They have the skin, and it doesn't give off the tumah that the body of the sheretz would give off. That's the opinion of Shmuel. Okay. Rabbi Bar Rav Huna Marav. Rabbi Bar Rav Huna says in the name of Rav. Remember, Rav Huna is a student of Rav. Rabbi is the son. Rabbi Bar Rav Huna Marav. Afilu Tema Rabbanan. He gets into this extreme complication by saying that the Mishnah could even be the Rabbanan. And we know that the Rabbanan hold that not all the shratzim have a separate skin regarding tumah. He says, but nevertheless, regarding Shabbos, we can say that our Mishnah Shmeina shratzim, that if someone causes a bruise on one of them, that he's going to be chayiv on Shabbos equally across the board. So he explains like this. When did the Rabbanan argue on Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri el linyan tumah? That's only regarding impurity. You're comparing impurity. There's a machlekes regarding impurity. What size of the skin would give off impurity? And why do we have that discussion? Because the Rabbanan say, these are tamei. Now, when it says Eily, well, let's first do the hay. It says hatmeim, the extra hay. The extra hay is ribuye. It's coming to include something. What's it coming to include? It's coming to include that the skin gives off tumah just like the body. How much size does the body give off tumah? Like a bean or a lentil. So too, the skin gives off tumah like a lentil. Okay. that means that they don't really have skin. When you say they don't have skin, that means they don't have a skin that has a different halacha than the body. That means all their skin is like flesh. And that's the term that's going to be used. The only thing is that it also says Eila. Eila is an exclusion. The hey of hatmeim is the inclusion. So how do we do this? It says L'Rabbi she'erisem kibsarim. Anything that was in, there's 3 psukim over there. The first pasuk says Hacheler achbar anatzav. The next pasuk says Hanaka koyach altav achimet hatin shamas. Then the pasuk says Eila tmeim lachem. So anything that's in that second pasuk, the skin is like the flesh, and anything that's in the first pasuk gets excluded because of the word Eila. So when did the Rabbanan say that there's certain species here of shratzim that the skin is exactly like the flesh? That's all those in the second pasuk. And so therefore, I could have thought that maybe on Shabbos, if you bruise them, you're not chayiv. But Rabbi Bar Rav Huna, in the name of Rav, says that actually for those, you're also chayiv on Shabbos. Regarding tumah, it's not considered skin. So it's not considered skin that it should give off tumah the size of a dasha. That's only regarding tumah because of a pasuk. Avalin Shabbos, I feel a Rabbanan might. But regarding Shabbos, the Rabbanan would also say that it's chayiv if you bruise them. And the concept over here is that the blood would get clotted or collected underneath the skin, and it would be considered a bruise of tzefeya or coloring it. The Gemara says, 1 second. You're telling me the machlekes Rabbi Yochanan and Nuri and the Rabbanan is only regarding Tumah, not regarding Shabbos. Shabbos like pligi. They don't argue regarding Shabbos. For Tanya, we have a brisa that says clearly they argue regarding Shabbos as well, which means they argue about the skin of these species if it's considered skin regarding Shabbos. Any of the Shmeina Shratzim, if you capture them and you bruise them on Shabbos, you're chayiv. Rabbi Yochanan and Nuri. Very easy. We could have said that that's the Mishnah, according to Shmuel. Could have gotten away easy here. However, the Chachamim don't say that. The Chachamim say ein ar. Now, this is the hard part. Now, it's also hard for me because when I turn the page, I lose the concentration here. Because it's really one sentence here. Ein ar ella l'ma shemanu Chachamim. The Chachamim say there's only skin for those that the Chachamim enumerated. Now, immediately there's a huge problem with that statement, because when you say there's only skin for those, ein ar ella, it means that there only is. There's no skin, but that means there's only skin for those that the Chachamim enumerated. Now, really, it's exactly the opposite. What the Chachamim enumerated are those that don't have skin, not those that have skin. When I say ein ar ella, there's only skin for those that what the Chachamim enumerated. What do you mean? There's only skin for those? All the animals have skin. The Chachamim aren't telling me which ones have skin. The Chachamim are telling me which ones the skin is like the flesh, which means that they don't have skin. So we're going to need to adjust something there. Something is a problem with this statement, this ein ar ella. There's only skin to what the Chachamim enumerated. Right away the Gemara asks, Adarabba, what the Chachamim said is that they don't have certain of these, don't have skins. The ones in the second pasuk, the skin is not considered skin, and the tumah that comes from these shratzim is just like the flesh, which is the size of a lentil or a bean. Amar Abaya. Abaya explains, Hachi Kamar. Ein ar chalak mi basar, ela lama shaloi manu chachamim. The skin is not different than the flesh, only or separated from the flesh, or different from the flesh, only for those what the sages did not say. As the sages gave us a list of several of the Shmeina Shratzim, that the skin is the same as the flesh.
So he adds a word there.
He's adding the word shaloi. which means exactly the opposite, which the sages did not enumerate. So he's explaining. Ein or chaluk mi-basar. When do we say skin is separate from the flesh? That's only in those things that the sages did not say, which is everything, except for those few that are in the second pasuk. So everything has skin except for those few. Now, the complication here, and it's not a complication, just what's happening in this Gemara is that we have a very serious question. We're getting distracted by some wording here. Our serious question is that Rav, or Rabbi Bar Rav Huna in the name of Rav, is saying that the author of our Mishnah could be the Rabbanan. That all Shmeina Shratzim have skin. Now the Rabbanan don't say that. The Rabbanan say that some of the Shmeina Shratzim don't have skin. So the way to resolve it was, some of the Shemona Shratzim don't have skin, that's regarding Tumah. Regarding Shabbos, they all have skin. That skin that they have is considered skin. So we quote a brisa that says that there's a machlekes regarding Shabbos as well. Now, we didn't answer the question. All we did was we got caught up in some language in the brisa that is discussing what does it really mean. They said it does have skin. The only ones that have skin are the ones that sages counted. No, it's the ones that sages didn't count that has skin. But our problem is we have a problem that's laying here in the background. That's 1 second. The machlekes is regarding Shabbos. So Amar lei Rava. Rava says, what are you changing the brisa to tell me that it's the only ones that have skin that's separate are the ones that the sages did not enumerate? It says what the sages did enumerate. Back to our wording issue, our language issue. Elam Rava is going to try to resolve both issues now. Hachikamar. Ein ar mitami kabasar. We say ein ar, there's no skin. And when we say there's no skin, what we mean is not that there's no skin. We mean that there's no skin that's like flesh. There's no skin that's like flesh, only the ones that the sages enumerated. El mashaman chachamim. Means the only skin that's not considered skin. That's how we get out of this. Not the only skin, but the only skin that's not there, that's not real skin, are the ones that the sages enumerated. And he uses the word mitami kabasar, that the whole machlekes is only tumah. Okay. Now, the way Rava did this was that the only skin that's going to give off tumah, like the basar, means that he's limiting the amount of tumah that there would be, as opposed to the first opinion that says there's much more tumah. You saying that there's so much tumah, all the skins give off tumah. I'm saying the only skins that will give off tumah, like the basar, are those limited ones. Michlal, this implies, the way we're saying it, that Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri is more strict about the skins and says that they all give off tumah. Now, that's exactly the opposite. Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri is the lenient one. He says that none of the skins give off tumah. And then you're saying, Rabbi Yochanan says no skins give off tumah. And you say, oh no, the only skins that don't give off tumah, the only skins that do give off tumah, rather, but you're limiting something that was previously totally taken out. So we have to redo this again. Now the Bach adds in the word Ella. Ella Maravada Bar Masna, Taratachi. Ravada Bar Masna explains it like this. The Chachamim are le'inyan tumah. Chachamim say regarding impurity, ein ar l'mashmana Chachamim. It's not Ella l'mashmana Chachamim. He takes out the word Ella. Regarding tumah, I see, Dr. Stein. Regarding Tumah, the only skin is for what the sages enumerated. And that way it can follow from Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri. Rabbi Yochanan says that everything has skin, all the Shemini Shatzim. The Rabbanan say regarding Tumah, only the ones that the sages enumerated. There is no skin for what the sages enumerated. There's no word only in there. No. There is no skin for what the sages, there is no skin for what the sages enumerated. Which is minimizing the amount of skin that there was for, according to Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, the amount of creatures that have skin. Now, va'akati linin Shabbos le'pligi. That would come out, we're trying to say that there's no machlekes regarding Shabbos, but this is a problem. Because v'hatanya tzarechen micheshratzim amurim b'Torah. Because we took this last brisa that we quoted, and we said the Chavamayim regarding Tumah. We added in the word that it's only regarding Tumah that they're saying that. 1 second. Yeah, we're not going to get away with that so quick because we have another brisa that says, if someone captures one of the 8 shratzim, hamurim b'Torah, that are listed in the Torah, if someone bruises them nechayev, b'shratzim sheyesh lehem oiris. That's the shratzim that have skin. Sounds very similar to the Rabbanan. Right? According to Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, they all have skin. Let's go on. What is a chabura that doesn't go away? Nitzer hadam, if the blood collects, even if it doesn't go out. If the blood goes out, then it would be a chabura as well. But even if the blood just collects together underneath the skin, that's already a chabura. And that's chayav on Shabbos. But it's only by certain ones. Sounds like the Rabbanan, which means that the Rabbanan do argue with Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri regarding Shabbos. Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri says all 8 have skin. So we're back to a question on Rabbi bar Rav Huna Marav. Ravashi says, you don't know who the author is of that brisa. You're creating a problem because you think the author is the Rabbanan. That's the anonymous opinion that starts the brisa. However, Man Tanakama, Ravashi says, who is the author? Who is that first anonymous opinion? That's not the Tanakama that does that limud with the psukim that tells you regarding Tumah, and then you're extending it to Shabbos. That's not the story. That is the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. The Azal Basagishta, he is not looking at psukim. Rabbi Yehuda is not looking at psukim and telling me that it says the extra hay in the word hatmeim, that's telling me that the skin gives off tumah just like the flesh. And Eily tells me that it's only in the second pasuk, not in the first pasuk. He's not doing that. Rabbi Yehuda is not using psukim. He's just looking at the creatures themselves. And he's saying, do the creatures have skin? Then there's a concept of chabura. If they don't have skin, it has nothing to do with the pasuk. It says the azabasa gishta, it goes after the thick hide. The Tanan, it was taught in a Mishnah. Rabbi Daimer halata kecholda. Halata, possibly as a lizard, is like the chulda, which is the weasel, or the mole, whatever translation you look into. Whatever the case is, the halata is in the second pasuk, and the chulda is in the first pasuk. And he says that both of them have skin. He's not looking at psukim. He's looking at the actual characteristic of these creatures. And do they have skin or not? So, Afal Rabbanan, the Pligi led the Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri linyan Tumah, the Rabbanan that argue with Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri regarding Tumah linyan Shabbos, Ma'idulei. They would agree regarding Shabbos that all of them have skin. It's only regarding Tumah, there's a pasuk. Very good, we've just resolved Rabbi bar Rav Huna Amarav that says that the Mishnah could also be the Rabbanan. You find that there's a machlekes regarding Shabbos. That's not, Rabbanan are not involved in that machlekes. That machlekes was with Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, who says that the skin needs to be thicker for it to be considered skin. The Rabbanan don't say that. The Rabbanan say the skin could be skin even if it's thin. Regarding Tumah, yeah, that's a pasuk. That's we're not discussing the psukim. The psukim are only regarding Tumah. Regarding Shabbos, there's a skin there. Gemara has one problem left. Ihachi Divri Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, when the Brisa says that the one that argues on the first opinion, which we're now claiming is Rabbi Yehuda, not the Rabbanan, we said it's Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri. Who really is arguing on Rabbi Yehuda regarding Shabbos? Not just Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, but Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri and the Rabbanan are arguing on Rabbi Yehuda. So why do you just say that's the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri? The Rabbi Yochanan umachlukasei mi ba'ilei. It should say it's Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri and his opponents are arguing on Rabbi Yehuda. The Gemara says, okay, Tani, in the Brisa, we can adjust the Brisa. Div Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri umachlukasei. Teach it like that. Okay, that was the difficult Gemara. After this, it's easy. So we have two ways of adjusting, attributing the Mishnah to an author. Either the Mishnah, according to Shmuel, is the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, or according to Rav, it's the opinion of the Rabbanan as well. And Shmuel was the easy one. We got out of that very quick. So Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, there's no questions. And according to Rav, we had to go through a whole complication to figure out that the machlekes is only regarding Tumah, not regarding Shabbos. Okay. Boy mine Levi me Rabbi. Levi was a student of Rabbi. And he asks Rabbi the question, how do you know that a chabura is something that doesn't go back? Talking about, someone gets a black and blue mark. We're talking over here about a black and blue mark that doesn't go away. How do we know that it needs to be that type of black and blue mark that it stays there? The blood is collected under the skin and it stays there. I'm sure there's a better word than black and blue mark. But how do we know that that's considered a chabura? Okay. Diksiv, we have a pasuk. Hayapach kushiyore. Can an Ethiopian change his skin? B'nomer chabur b'reisav, or a leopard, it spots. My chabar b'reisav. What is the meaning of chabar b'reisav? Eily midakoi rikmi rikmi. If it says it's referring to the spots, which are the different, the high nemer chabur b'reisav, nemer gavanav mi ba'ilei. It shouldn't say spots, it should say its colors, which is a more nicer term for the spots on a leopard. Ella, rather what it means to say is not nemer as in a leopard. Ella, we're going to use the word nemer as in the word tamura, to exchange. Ella kakushi, rather it's similar to the Ethiopian. Ma oiri de kushi en chizeres, just like the skin of the Ethiopian doesn't go back, doesn't change. Af chabura ein chizeres. Also the nemer, also the tamura, not the nemer. Also the chabura, the chabur b'reisav, chabar b'reisav, also is not nemer, does not exchange. Nemer as in tamura. That's what we're saying over here. That it needs to be a chabura that doesn't go back. A leopard cannot change its spots. Okay. B'shar shkatzim. Okay, but this is a famous Gemara. We said that other types of creatures, someone that kills them on Shabbos, not kills them, someone that bruises them on Shabbos is pater. And someone that hunts them, it depends for what. If he captures them, it depends for what. We said if he bruises them, he's pater. Ha-hargan, but let's say he would kill them, these other types of creatures, then he would be chayiv. It's only the bruising them that he's pater, but killing them would be chayiv. Mantana, who is the author? Again, we go to attributing the Mishnah to which author. This is a common thing the Gemara does, is try to find arguments that we have and see who's the author of the anonymous Mishnah, which. So I'm Rabbi Yomi or Rabbi Elazar. Rabbi Yomi says it's Rabbi Elazar. The Tanya Rabbi Elazar, Mahir Kinim b'Shabbos, Kar Gamal b'Shabbos. Rabbi Elazar says that if someone kills a louse on Shabbos, that's as if he killed a camel. That's an example of a large animal. Even though this thing is tiny, it's as if he killed a large animal. Maskefler of Yosef, Rabbi Yosef says, Ad kan lepliga Rabbana de Rabbi Elazar lebekina. So, okay, what did we just do here? The Mishnah says that if you trap if you bruise another one of these, another creature that's not one of the 8 creatures, you're exempt. The Gemara deduces from that. That implies that if you would kill it, another creature, you'd be chayiv. What type of other creatures? Well, including a louse. Oh, you're chayiv if you kill a louse? That must be the opinion of Rabbi Elazar. So we say, 1 second. The Rabbanan argue with Rabbi Elazar. They about all creatures? No, they argue with Rabbi Elazar only regarding kina. This is Rabbi Yosef asks Rabbi Yirmiyah. Ad kan like pliga Rabbi Elazar el bekina, only with the louse. They ain't a part of a rav. Al shar shkatzim rasim the part of a rav and like pligi. They're not arguing because they're small. They're arguing because it has to do with that. But he says they're only arguing about that one incident, that one possibility that the shar shkatzim are referring to lice. The Rabbanan hold that killing a louse on Shabbos is exempt, or maybe even permissible, because it doesn't. The parent lice don't procreate. I think the lice comes from maybe the skin or the sweat or something. That would be the assumption over here. Spontaneous generation. I'll explain it in a second, but let's take it like the simple pshat, and then we'll go into complications. So there's they argue about killing lice. They say there's no if it doesn't come from procreation from a male and female, then there's no problem with killing it on Shabbos. However, other creatures that do procreate, even if it's not the 8 shvatzim, there is a problem with killing it on Shabbos. So the Mishnah could be the Rabbanan as well. It's just the louse is an exception. So where do we learn this? All malachas we know are learned from the Mishkan. And in the Mishkan, there were these rams that were used the skins. The rams were slaughtered. So let's make some similarities, some comparisons to the rams. Rabbi Elazar Savar Ke'elim. Rabbi Elazar says that something that's similar to the rams. Ma elam sheish lem netilas neshama. Afkol sheish ben netilas neshama. Well, rams are alive. Lice are alive. Kill a louse. So that's a malach on Shabbos. Rabbanan Savar Ke'elim. Everyone say, no, 1 second. We have to make a comparison to the rams. Ma elam deparim v'ravin. The rams procreate to have the baby rams. The rams that you have came from procreation. Afkol deparim v'ravin. Also, only things that come from male and female that procreate, which excludes lice. Amalei Abaya, Rekine Para Varava, what are you telling me? Lice don't procreate? We have a brisa that says, God sits, Vizan, and he sustains the world, Mikarni Re'emim, from the horns of a re'em, a large animal, I don't know how it's translated, until the eggs of the larva of lice eggs. The Gemara answers, you thought that Beit Sekinim means the larvae of lice. No, Beit Sekinim is a type of species. It's called Beit Sekinim. It's not the larvae is not. So it's not a it's not the lice's larvae. It's a type of species, and that's what it is. There's 2 words to this title, Beit Sekinim. That's what it's called, but it's not larvae. It's another species. So. I don't know how often the Gemara does that. That's an interesting way of resolving a problem, is to change what we thought was like this modifier, and you turn it into a name, and or something. So okay, it's a type of species. Minahu the mikra Beit Sekinim. But Tanya, 1 second, we have another brisa. It says Tefuya you Beit Sekinim. You have another one. It quotes that Beit Sekinim, which is lice larvae. It says no Minahu the mikra Beit Sekinim. The same story. That's a species. Rashi says he doesn't know where that price is or what it's referring to. But whatever the case is, we try to use another example to say that there are eggs from kinim, from lice. Gemara says, one second, very parish the paravarava. But there is a parish. I don't know what parish is translated. It's probably some sort of gnat or mosquito or something like that. Another type of bug that does procreate. B'Tanyan, we have a brisa that says it's ad paris b'Shabbos if someone captures it on Shabbos. Rabbi Lezer mechayiv, Rabbi Shua paiter. Rabbi Lezer says he's chayiv, and Rabbi Shua says that he's exempt. Now, obviously, you see that the parish, we know that the parish does procreate, that there is a male and female. And nevertheless, we see that there's a machlekes. Let's assume that Rabbi Shua is the opinion of the Rabbanan that argues with Rabbi Lezer. And the suggestion over here was that if you kill other creatures on Shabbos, you're going to be chayiv. It's only the louse that's the exception. Why would a louse be an exception? Well, there's no procreation by lice. So what are you talking about? That same machlekes applies to the parish. In the parish, there is procreation. So it can't be the Rabbanan. It's like a question that knocks off the whole story. Amar Avashi, Tseida Ariga Karamas. You're making a comparison here because you had a brisa that's discussing someone that captures a parish. That wasn't machlekes regarding killing a parish. Rabbi Shua only exempted capturing a parish. He has a cup, he turns it over on the parish, he captured it. He didn't kill it yet. That goes after when he smashes the cup. He didn't smash the cup. He just captured it. He left it there. So there's no connection. Ad kan le pligi Rabbi Lezer, Rabbi Shua. The whole machlekes Rabbi Lezer and Rabbi Shua is the mar savar, davar she'ein min nitzid chayev, mar savar pater. There's machlekes Rabbi Lezer and Rabbi Shua regarding things that are not usually hunted or captured. People don't have mosquito collections or whatever. They capture things that are worthwhile, that they're going to use the skins, and then they hang it on the head on the wall or whatever. Quite a character to have a mosquito collection. This it was a machlekes. If you capture something that's has no usage, normally it's not captured, what do you do with it? Rabbi Lezer says you're chayiv anyway. Rabbi Shua says you're pater. That's not the normal thing to capture. So that's a separate machlekes. But regarding killing, there's no machlekes. If you kill it, you're chayiv, even on Shabbos. Why? Because it procreates, even though it's so small. But regarding killing, even Rabbi Shua would agree that on Shabbos you'd be chayiv. However, where's the machlekes to Rabbanan and Rabbi Eliezer? That's regarding the lice. Okay, now this famous explanation on this. Because spontaneous generation is not something that we accept nowadays. Science doesn't accept it. I guess probably since Louis Pasteur or something. But Rabbi Dessler has a famous explanation on this, that the Torah only considers procreation on things that are larger, even though, of course, lice also procreate. But because it's so small and the eggs are so small, it's not the size that's considered that there's real procreation there. So we're talking about things that are that small that killing them don't go under that category. In other words, the Torah only tells us that you have to take into account things that the eye could see. If the eye can't see it, then it's not that's not considered significant. So therefore, it's possible that even though the lice do procreate, there is a male and female louse, but nevertheless, that's not considered procreation because of their size, and it's too small for the eye. You would need a magnifying glass to see that. What that would mean is that if we do see it with a magnifying glass, so if we do see it with a magnifying glass, the Torah doesn't count it. So even though today we know that it does procreate, but it doesn't matter to us because the Torah tells us that it's permissible. there are other opinions that would argue on this and say the Torah was referring, when we said that things that don't procreate you're allowed to kill, must not have been referring to the lice that we know today. It must be referring to some other sort of spontaneous generation that doesn't exist today. Today, you look at the lice, you see that they procreate. I mean, you'd need magnifying glasses and all of that. But so therefore, today you can't kill a louse. It's a discussion how to view this. And years ago, there was many years ago, several hundred years ago, there was an encyclopedia called Pachad Yitzchak. I think it was the first encyclopedia. Yitzchak Laparante, I think his name was. And he has an argument with his teacher in this little piece in that encyclopedia. If now that we know that that lice do procreate, are you allowed to kill them on Shabbos? It depends how you view it. Yeah, this comes up every once in a while. Yeah.
No, in support of the first answer that because you can't see them, they don't count. It's not.
Right.
Isn't that what the rabbis use for kaskeset? Like when the question on an eel has scales, but it's not visible scales. Therefore,
right. Yeah.
Even,
so that
would
be.
It doesn't have fins. I mean,
right. That would be a support. That would be a support for this, and other things also. Sometimes you see people with the magnifying glass looking at their esrogim. Which would not be necessary unless you saw something.
It's nothing.
Unless you saw something that you don't know what it is, you can use a magnifying glass to determine what it is. But the Torah only is concerned about what the eye sees. Okay. This comes up all the time. It comes up in the bugs in the water. It comes up with the things in the fish, the worms in the fish. This discussion of what the Torah was referring to when it says that things that you can't see or whatever isn't considered forbidden, is it referring to what we just found? Or is it referring to some other thing that we don't know about? Okay, we've discussed before what the Rebbe said about the science on spontaneous generation. Let's leave that. Okay, Hatzadan l'tzayra chayav chulu. Someone captures these for their purpose. That means for the skin, then he's chayav. But if it's not for the skin, then he's pater. Mantana, who's the author that says that it needs to be captured for that purpose? Rabbi says name of Reb Shimon. That's obviously the opinion of Reb Shimon that says any forbidden labor on Shabbos, if it's not done for the intention of what that labor is normally done for, so then he's exempt. If you capture something that you don't need the skin, you capture it just to save you from, so it doesn't bite you, so then you're exempt. There are those that said that what Rabbi Yehuda Amar Rav said, that it's the opinion of Reb Shimon. Some said that on our Mishnah, some said it on other Mishnayos as well, and we're going to go through. Hamafis Morsa b'Shabbos, if someone that makes a hole in a boil to let the pus out, or a blister or something. Imlasis lepeh, if he made an opening that he wants it to be an opening to always be able to let out the pus from this boil, so then he's chayiv. Imlaitz meni lechef was just this one-time thing, just to let it drain, so then he's exempt. Montana, who's the author of this? Reb Shimon. Again, it's Reb Shimon, that he wasn't making a vessel, like an opening. Some said it about the following. If someone captures a snake, if he's concerned that it doesn't bite him, so pater, then he's exempt. But if he's doing it for medicine, then he's chayiv. He's capturing it because he's going to use some part of the snake for something in medicine. Then he's chayiv. Montana, who's the author? Reb Shimon. It's the Reb Shimon that says that malachas need to be done for the right purpose. The malacha shein tzrich legufa is patur. If you do it for a different purpose, then you're going to be exempt. Amar Shmuel. Shmuel says a shela dog min ayam. Some take out the word yam. Given sheyavish by kasela chayiv. How does a fish die? You take it out of the water. So let's say you have a fish that's in remember that book, A Carp in the Bathtub or something? A let's say you take that, you take it out of the bathtub. So it was alive, right? They would buy the fish, they would keep it in the pail or in the bathtub until they were ready to make it before Rosh Hashanah, I think, and Pesach, maybe, I forget what the book was. So so when you take it out of the water, the fish dies when it begins to dry up. So how much dry is dry? Where's the cutoff point? So it says the size of a sela coin that's dried on the scales of the fish. That means that it won't be able to survive anymore. Amar Rabbi Yossi bar Rav and Ubein Snapir. Rabbi Yossi bar Rav says it has to be between the fins. Amar Rav Ashi says leitem yavish mamish. It doesn't need to be mamish dry that you touch it, and it's dry then it's considered that it won't survive. Even if it dried up to the extent that when you touch it and it becomes like it makes a I don't know what is it called?
Mucus.
A mucus, good. A mucus that you could pull it. So that's what happened when it would dry. At the beginning of drying, so then that would already be chayiv. I'm sorry, we did that later. Amar Mar Bar Hamduri. This fellow Mar Bar Hamduri, he says in the name of Shmuel, Amar Shmuel, if a person sticks his hand inside the womb of an animal and he shakes the fetus that's inside, he's chayiv. Why is he chayiv? So, my timer. What's the reason? Amar Rava Rava says Bar Hamduri Asbrali. I actually heard from Bar Hamduri himself. He explained it to me. Lav Amar Rav Sheshis, did Rav Sheshis not say Hayman de Talish Kshushmi Hizmi Vihigi Mechayiv Mishamayka Davim Megidulai? So Haynami Mechayiv Mishamayka Davim Megidulai. Okay, I didn't know that this is how it works, but this is how it's explained, and at least Steinsaltz explained it like this, that if someone takes hops, I thought hops were a bush, but the way he put it was that hops grow on other bushes. I didn't know this, but hops like used in beer. So they grow on other bushes. If someone removes it from the other bushes, he's chayiv because he removed it from its place of growth. So too, if someone shakes this fetus that's inside the animal, he removed it from its place of growth. Even though it's not attached to the ground, neither of them are attached to the ground, not the hops and not the fetus, but nevertheless, that's a malach of removing something from its place of growth. It's toilish, I guess. Now the Gemara goes on. Amar Abaya Haiman de Talish Pitra Meuna de Chatzva. Here you see a better example for this. Well, at least for me, I didn't know that hops grew like that. I thought that hops were bushes. But if someone takes a mushroom off the handle of a basket, a bucket, there's a mushroom growing on this bucket. The mushroom grows on dead wood or something. Here it's growing on the side of a bucket. So he's Machai Mishamakadav Megidul. You see, that's very interesting because it doesn't grow from the ground. It doesn't grow from the bucket either. It grows from the air. This is interesting. Someone collects, this would be if you collect moss off the top of a pond or something. Or off a rock. It doesn't grow from the rock, it grows on the rock. Nevertheless, you're Eikedav Megidule. I had this interesting question because my wife makes this kombucha. So there's these spores in it, it's a type of mushroom, whatever it's called. Are there any problems of taking Eikedav Megidula? You're taking I mean, it's already been, the main mushroom has been taken out, but there are little things that hang around in it. Pouring it, if you take it out, I don't know, anyway, whatever. I'm making a complication there. Masav Rav Aishia says, "Hataylish metzitz nakov chayev v'shein nakov pater." There's a problem. What are you saying? You're taking something you're uprooting it from the ground. We said a flower pot that doesn't have a hole in it, you're pater if you take it off. So why you chayev if you take a mushroom off a bucket? It's not attached to the ground. The flower pot without the hole is not attached to the ground, then you're pater. And you tell me you're chayev if you take a mushroom. A flower pot, you have a plant in it without a hole in it, that's not the way it normally grows. Normally it grows in the ground. You put it in a above ground pot without a hole. So that's not the normal way of growth. But mushrooms grow on buckets. Maybe dead wood buckets, Okay, chayev v'oif. A bird, a wild animal and a bird, we said that if you capture it, you're exempt. But if you have it already, but if you cause damage to it, if you bruise it, you're chayev. Amar Rav Huna says, Rav Huna's second generation, Amar. Kaisvin tefillin al gabi arshal iftar. Can write tefillin on bird skin, kosher bird. Yes, you dry it out, tan it, and you can write tefillin on it. Amar Rav Yosef, Maika Mashmalan. What chiddush are you telling me? To Rav Huna, he says, this layar, you're trying to tell me that there's skin on a bird? Tanina, I have a Mishnah that says that. Hachayvel bem chayev. That if you bruise a bird on Shabbos, you chayev. Obviously, there's skin. We learned that bruising is only when blood collects under the skin. Amalei Abaya tuva kamashma. Abaya supports his teacher, Rabbi Yosef. No, the opposite. He answers to his teacher, Rabbi Yosef. He says, no, Rav Huna is giving us a big chiddush. The imi masnisen, that Mishnah wouldn't have told me so much. He says, Hava minikim this be nikvi lay. I could have thought that there's holes in the skin because of the feathers, that they're wedged. They go deeply in. So you tan it, there's going to be holes there. So I could think that even though there's skin, yes, but there's holes in the skin, you can't write tefillin on it. Kamash Malan comes to teach us that Kedamri Maravadat, but what they say in the West, they say in Eretz Yisrael, Kol Nekev Shadiyoi Verslav Ein Nekev. If the ink goes over the hole, it's not considered a hole. We were just speaking before if the eye can see it. Here, it's only considered a hole even if the eye could see it. How could you see it? You hold it up to the light and you look into the light. You see the light is coming through in certain spots, like tiny pinholes. But nevertheless, the ink doesn't flow through that, so that's considered kosher parchment. Okay. Meisve, that's a chiddush of Rav Huna. Meisve Reb Zeir b'knafav lahachshir sar. Says that you throw the bird on the mizbeach together with the wings, together with the skin. B'chnafav, it's coming to teach me that you leave the skin on. V'sal kadaitach arhu, the Gemara says like this: if it's actually skin, hechi marbile kra. How could the Torah say? I don't know what type of question that is. I think it means not how, but why. Why does the Torah say that you leave the skin on? The skin is always taken off the animals. The skin is never burnt on the mizbeach. From all the sacrifices, the skin is taken off. First you skin the animal and then you put it on. But so the bird, you don't do that. Obviously, it's not skin. Otherwise, the Torah wouldn't have said that you put it on. Amalei Abaya, no, arhu, it is skin. Rachman Rabbi, and the Torah says that you put it on anyway. What's the question? Ikadami, others said it differently. Reb Zeir says that no, this is a raya, that the skin of a bird is considered skin. Biknaf of Rabbi says, it's coming to include the skin of a bird. You put it on the mizbeach. If you say it's skin, that's why the Torah has to tell me that you put it on. If you would just say that the bird skin is really flesh, why do I need a pasuk to tell me that I have to put on the mizbeach? I put the bird, it's regular meat. The skin of a bird is regular skin. You eat it. They serve the chicken with the skin. You have to tell me that you put it on the mizbeach. It must be that the skin of a bird is considered skin. And nevertheless, you put it on the Mizbeach because the Torah says so. It's not a real proof. Really, could say that it's not skin. And nevertheless, the Torah tells me that I have to put it on just because you serve it. And dinner doesn't mean that it's skin that should go, that it's flesh that it goes on the Mizbeach. Why? Because you can think that maybe since there are holes in it, so therefore you don't put it on the Mizbeach. Nothing to do with if it's skin or if it's flesh, simply because there's holes in it. Kamash Malan is coming to teach us that you put it on the Mizbeach anyway, but there's no proof regarding skin. Mar Breder Ravina Mir Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak. Mar Breder Ravina asks Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak, Ma lichtav tefillin al gabi arshel dagtar. Are you allowed to write tefillin on fish skin? Amalei and Yavi Eliyavi Aimer. He says, Nachman Bar Yitzchak responds to Mar Breder Ravina. He says, if Eliyahu and Navi will come and tell us. Mayim Yavi Eliyavi, what are you talking about? Eliyahu is going to tell us halachas? Terle b'shamayimi. We're not going to get new halachas from Eliyahu. Maybe he'll answer questions that we had, but this is going to be a new Eily or what's Eliyahu going to tell us? Is it considered skin? We see that the fish have skin. That I don't need Eliyahu to tell me. Fish don't receive impurity. Animals do. Fish don't. And what happens is anything that doesn't become impure can also protect from impurity. So if there's something underneath the fish and in a tent, the fish skin, let's say, so there's something under it, that what's under it won't become tamei in the house because it's protected by the fish. It's matzilin. Or let's say between two rooms or a roof, and this fish on the window between it. So it could stop the tumah from going into that area. So you see that there's skin by fish. Obviously, you're not going to write on it if it has a smell. If Eliyahu will come and tell us that it's not considered smelly from the fish, then we'll be allowed to write tefillin on it. I don't know why we need Eliyahu to tell us about the smell. I guess we should stop here.